Museum for music and ice cream. Thanks again for riding the railroad today.
Thank you.
This is Train Main Will. Everything's all clear, ready to proceed north to Midway. Understand, everyone's in the clear on the RTVM 54 and okay north of Midway.
We're going up to there are a few trees. Once you get past there's a few trees that block the train.
Oh, just about.
Yeah, okay.
You okay though? It's all clear.
Yeah.
here.
Oh, right.
Money.
Very
Nice
simple.
to see it happen.
Very simple. And well, too.
Actual old stuff has a
This car was built in 1929 by the J.G. Brill Corporation. It ran in revenue service for the Philadelphia and Western Railroad from 1929 up until the mid-1980s. It ran on the Norris high-speed line, and on the back placard on the right is what the Norristown high-speed line, the route that it took. This is more of an interurban car versus a subway or street car. Interurban car is a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, a little bit heavier, and this car is capable of doing 70 miles an hour. Think back in the 1920s, 1930s, common people like us did not have a car. That was more for the rich type of people. We would get around either by our horse, or if we had the lucky had a carriage, or you had interurban service, which would take you town to town. Like you had something went from Rochester to Syracuse or Rochester to Sodus, and those were the kind of things we'd get around on, visit our family and stuff. As the world wars came and gone, now mass-producing cars. People like us can afford a car. We're not taking interurban service, and the interurban service kind of way. Now you have the what do you call it, expressways, throughways, and stuff like that that people take. The car is capable of doing 70 miles an hour. So if you think about it, you're up in the open roads. But if you came here in Syracuse or in the farmlands, you just open it up. It's nice and flat. You can go and get where you got to go. The next thing is all the track that you see. There was never a railroad here. Everything you see was built by volunteers. They scavenged track. A lot of the track on the top is from the Rochester subway. So those of you who don't remember the Rochester subway, you can go home tonight and tell the story you actually rode in the Rochester subway tracks. So the other thing too is, remember I said the car can go 70. We have the honors of Dave being here today. Dave actually ran this car when it was in revenue service down in the Philadelphia Western Railroad area.
Unfortunately, we can't go 70 miles an hour today on the railroad we have.
How fast are we gonna go?
Well, about 20, but that's on the direction coming here. It's a little slower going back because of the hills. So anyway, folks, welcome aboard Car 168. This car being built in 1929, the first of this type was built in 1923. The last ones were built in 1929. In 1931, Thomas Conway, who was running the Norristown high-speed line and the P&W at the time, turned around and designed the bullet car. They designed those cars with J.G. Brill Company in Philadelphia. They actually used the wind tunnel to design the cars. So the cars had a rounded type of front end, hence the name bullet car. So these cars only being able to run 50 miles an hour at the time, they had to increase the speed on these cars. They did that by changing the trucks, changing the structure underneath the car itself, and putting different motors on the car so that it could be capable of running 70 miles an hour. So these cars ran up until, this car ran, it was about 1986 when they took this one out of service. The 60 type cars, actually, and the Bullets ran until 1992 when they were replaced with new cars that still operate on the Norristown line today. still part of the SEPTA system in Philadelphia, suburban Philadelphia. The tickets I gave you when you boarded, some of you have another ticket that says Philadelphia and Western Railway, because I ran out of the other tickets and we've had a very successful day. Those tickets are the tickets that I used when I worked on board the cars for people going from an express train to a local train and vice versa. So I didn't collect your fares, but there was a box on each end of the car, a fare box. You put your money in the box, told me where you were going, and I would print a ticket if I punch out a ticket if I needed to punch out a ticket. This here, a lot of people have been asking about, is a fare register. Everybody thinks it's for holding on when you got a standing room only crowd on the train, which we had a lot of times during the rush hour. This is actually a fare register. There was a register on the other side of the bulkhead here. And what the conductor would do, he'd come up and ask you your fare, and you'd tell the person 20 cents. So the person handed you 2 dimes, you put 1 dime in this pocket, 1 dime in this pocket. This was for the company, this one's for the conductor. And then you turn around and you ring it to 10 cents, and then you push the button and it would ring, and it would ring up the fare. At the end of the day, the conductor had to turn in his cash and his tickets, and it had to match with whatever was the numbers he wrote down from the register at the end of the day. So just one little story before we go. A lot of times when I worked on the extra board, I had to work the platform. When you worked the platform, you called out the trains. Well, at 5:30 at night, there was the Northbound Express. His first stop was Villanova. You had Bryn Mawr Express. His first stop was Ardmore Junction. Then you had the Radnor Express. Then you had the Wynwood Road Local and the Bryn Mawr Local. There were all these trains in the terminal at one time. Of course, the Northbound Express was the first one out at 5:30. So what you would do is a 2-car train, you had to yell real loud, right, Northbound, and the motorman in each car would hear you, close his doors, and he would get a signal, and off he would go. Well, with that, one day, this woman come running through the doors. She said, stop the train. I said, I can't. He's already going. She said, well, you let him go. I said, no, I didn't. You chased him out of the station. Oh! Folks, thank you very much for coming. We enjoyed having you today. Come and see us again. Thank you very much.
So this is a different model, or a different, it's a more powerful version? I just,
So this is making the contact on top, right? Where those are? How powers it?
gotta come here one of these days and film it from right here.
Rosie said you guys walk on that?
Yeah, we've walked there.
She's like,
I don't see it.
Dave, I'm right here. They posted a tweet about the meeting that's happening.
It's gonna be perfect. My phone's gonna be out of battery like as soon as we get back. I had just enough.
was getting charged up on the way out.
I think it was at 84 when we got here.
Better than your battery.
Yeah. I would have had to have it on constant life support.
Now we're hitting the twilight Trolly ride right now this time. Yeah, it's take 30, so sun's going down. This is why I picked 7:30.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if the lighting would be as good, but I figured it'd be cool when we're out
No.
here. That's a new one.
What?
That's a new one they made.
Maybe they just repainted it, but it's probably
True.
vintage.
Refinished, yeah.
Where's Midway? Should be approaching Midway. Oh, there he is. Waiting for him.
So he wasn't going to make us walk back.
Now we ride the train backwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at Midway Station.